Hi guys, and welcome to Growing Gratitude. Here's the deal, you guys. It's going to be another week of an upload. Yes, and I do this on occasion. I try to do the live streams as much as I can because I absolutely love talking to you guys in the chat. But sometimes spoons don't allow for me to do that. And so this week is one of those weeks where I have some stuff on my plate. And so I'd rather not have to get up tomorrow morning and kind of do gratitude. But that's not the only reason. The other reason that you guys are watching an upload this week is because the stuff that I have to talk to you about, or the stuff that I will be talking about during gratitude, is stuff that is important to me and stuff that is kind of news-ish and things that I want to be careful about what I'm saying too, because I want to make sure that I keep certain things private. Okay, so that said, easier for my brain to do that in the afternoon, evening than at 8 o'clock in the morning. So in order to make sure that I do say what I want to say and make sure that you guys get the information that I want you to get, I am uploading this thing. So welcome to Growing Gratitude. It is where I weekly, very publicly, talk about the things that I'm grateful for in my week, even if I'm having a crappy week. And the hope is that that will grow the gratitude in my life. And then I hope that it inspires you guys to take some time to set aside to very consciously think about the gratitudes in your life, right? That's the hope with Growing Gratitude. In any case, here we sit in the office. As you can tell, I am fresh out of the shower. I got back not too long ago from the food truck for today. It's Saturday. So from the food truck today, and got a shower when we get home because you just smell like food and it's gross and I can't sit around smelling like food. So just showered, and I wanted to sit down and do this for you guys and talk about some shiznit. Okay, that's what we're going to do right now. So I have talked for the last two live streams, last gratitude and the last being back alive, about some news that I have coming and some changes that I have coming, but I haven't really given you guys any details about it because everything was up in the air. Well, things are still sort of up in the air, but we are getting closer to them being really formalized. And so I feel like I can share some information, which is good because those things are part of my gratitudes for this week. So yay for this update for you guys. Let me just open up my little calendar here because I took myself some really good notes. Here we are. Okay. So my very first gratitude for this week is a giant shout out to the universe. And you guys know, or maybe you don't know, I'm not a very religious person. I certainly do not necessarily believe in the idea of a God or a singular God or anything like that. I'm more of a spiritual person. And so there are things that certainly feel like they are out of my control and certainly feels like some other power or presence is in charge of things a lot of the time. And so what I do is, for me, I call that the universe, right? Whatever mystical things that I don't understand that are out there, I call the universe, right? It's just the universe doing its thing. So this week's gratitude goes out to the universe because not only have things finally fallen into place that I've been looking to fall into place, but on top of it, it's been very clear from the universe. So like the signs were super duper clear. And that I feel like happens, A, when you're paying attention, B, when you're open to things coming your way, and C, also when you stop and are kind of grateful and aware of kind of the bigger goals you're headed for, or what it is that you're looking for, and you have an awareness, right? And that awareness is essential. And so what I want to say is thank you to the universe because I had a bunch of things fall into place. So here's the deal. Here's some scoopage. So one of the things that is falling into place and happening is that, guys know we've been doing the food truck for, a few months now, 8 months or so. And it's been off and on. Not only did Antonio get injured a whole bunch of times, which definitely happened, but also the weather was a real pain in the ass. And it's really hard to do stuff like this in a food truck when you live where we live because the weather gets crazy. And when it gets cold at night, it goes below freezing at night. And so you can't leave things on the truck that freeze, right? And things like that. So there's a lot of hardship with doing the food truck here in particular. And so we've been for a while now kind of keeping our eyes open for a brick and mortar, like a building, right? To sort of move the business into. And when we moved up here, there was this cute little building, and we both fell in love with it. And we're like, hey, if that little commercial building ever goes up for sale, we are going to figure out how to buy it because it's a great location. It's so cute. It's unique looking, and it's standalone, and we loved everything about it. So fast forward 3 years it is now that we're living up here. And we saw that one of the spaces in that building was coming up for rent. And I said, oh, Antonio, we should look into this, find out how much, blah, 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 because we should at least try and get in the building, right? Let's try and get in there. And so we called, and Antonio was on the phone with the woman selling it. And we were not selling it, renting it rather, the space, and talking to her about that. And they get into this amazing conversation. And jokingly, she says, you know, maybe you'll buy the business, right? And so here's the deal. We were looking to, it's a 2-story little building. The top story is a really small space, and that was the one that was for rent. And the one below it, which is a much bigger space, is actually currently occupied. And it is occupied by a coffee place. So they have some food, but mostly muffins, things like that. And it's just this rustic little coffee place. And so Antonio said, well, if you're serious, yes, we would really be interested in buying the business. So this is the way that things are going for us. We, made this little call just to find out about the smaller space up above that was for rent. And out of the conversation comes this thing. Right. So we have been going through all of that. There are a few little snags. So the purchase hasn't officially gone through yet, which is why I've sort of been holding off a little bit on sharing that. So that's still up in the air, but we are going to be starting to serve out of the food truck from that parking lot starting tomorrow or today as you're watching it. So Sunday. And I'm excited about that opportunity, and I'm really thrilled because I want you guys to notice that when Antonio finally gave in to chasing his real dream, not just what was safe, right? All of this stuff started to open up, and it has been a battle. It has been an uphill battle. You guys have watched it. You have seen the suffrage as we've gone through, purchasing the truck and redoing the inside and all of the injuries and all of the winter weather. And you guys have seen him, we've really had to push through. And here's the payback, man. Here's the payback. Okay. And so that is going to be happening, over there on that situation, which is really exciting. And that sort of posed sort of a situation to me. Obviously, I've been working on the food truck, and I sort of have limited the amount of time during the week. So instead of doing 5 days a week on autism stuff, I only do 4 days a week on autism stuff. And I give the rest of my time to the food truck in that business, right? Well, now with moving to the brick and mortar, that's going to mean that Antonio is going to be way open many more than just 3 days a week, right? He can be open 7 days a week if he wants to. And so we started on a conversation. What does that mean for me in terms of my autism work? And do I want to keep doing it? What do I want to keep doing? That kind of whole thing. And so I thought, well, let me just, I really love the course that I'm doing, and it's the other stuff bores me, and I'm sort of over that. So maybe I'll just keep doing the course, and I'll come work kind of full time for you over there. I mean, it's going to be our retirement money. Whatever we make over there is going to be what we are going to die doing, right? And so I said I might as well, come work full time. It's one less person we'd have to pay to be over there and that kind of thing. And so it felt like a really smart decision. And there we were last week on our food truck. And one of our regular customers came up and he ordered his food. And, we just chit chat with them as we're taking their order, especially if it's somebody that we know from town, right? And of course, this person was somebody that we know from town that we know really well. Why, you say, Becca? Do you know this person really well? Well, this person happens to help manage our local vet's office. And when you have 4 dogs and 6 cats and 2 more cats outside, you see the vet often. And you get to know your vet. And it's a really important choice when you live somewhere, the vet that you choose. And let me fold this in. Oh, wait, let me not tell this part yet. Okay, so this person was there and just happened to mention that they were hiring at the vet's office part-time, full-time, that they had hired someone, and that day as they were ordering was that person's first day, and already they hadn't shown up. So they were already looking to replace that person. And so we're chit-chatting about it. And as you guys know, I used to be in the vet world, right? I used to work in a shelter. I was a vet tech for many years. And then even when I first moved up here, I had attempted to work in our local shelter, but it wasn't a great social environment for me there. And so I'm trained in those things. That's what I do, or what I did before I was an autism advocate and a bartender. I did that. And so, joking around, I said, well, I could always come in and cover for you guys if you need while you're looking for someone. And he said, oh, you were a tech. And so we started chatting. Needless to say, the opportunity came up for me to share my information with this person and say, listen, I'd be interested. I think I would be interested. I'd at least like to explore it, was what I said. And so I I wrote down my information on a piece of paper. I gave it to him, sent him on his way. Didn't really think anything of it, but I was like, oh, that's kind of exciting and fun. And so the more that I thought about it after this whole conversation, and it just had happened so kind of off the cuff, right? And as I was thinking about it, I was getting more and more excited. I was like, dope, I would love to work with animals again. I really love doing that work. I really enjoy it. I enjoy that it means a lot of different things for me. There are a lot of different reasons why that kind of job works for me. First of all, there is no uniform other than scrubs. Yay! So I don't even have to wear real clothes. So I've been having all those struggles with waistbands and all of that, and how is it going to deal with that? Well, if I work in a vet's office, all I have to do is wear scrubs, and that is my second favorite thing in the world to wear, second only to pajamas. So very exciting. I love wearing scrubs. I actually really enjoy wearing them, and that would be really kind of easy for me. I could do that, right? And the thoughts start to really spin out about this, right? And I'm like, oh, it also works for me because it's right here. It's literally a 10 to 12 minute drive from my front door to that front door, on my little local streets. And it's right here. So no matter the weather, I'd be able to get there. No matter what, it's right there. I'll never have to sit in traffic. All of these things. My commute is this big. All of that stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, that's really interesting, right? And I'm just thinking about that, right? All right, and it also keeps me on my feet, right? That job keeps me moving. And one of the things about doing autism advocacy is that I don't move a lot. It's a lot of this, right? It's a lot of this, always on the computer, right? And when I'm not on the computer, because social media is such a huge component of what I do, I'm always on my phone. And this would present an opportunity to be off my phone and to not care so much about what's going on in autism land, right? To not care so much and get caught up in all of that online stuff and really be mindful and in my present, right? All the time. So that's a really wonderful opportunity, right? And so I thought, okay, all of that stuff is really working, right, in my head. So I'd been sitting on it for 2 days. Antonio knew that I gave the information and everything. And then I decided to talk to him about it. And I sort of started to express it. And I was like, the other thing I was thinking about is because we're having to invest a nice chunk of money into this business, right, that maybe before I get really old and really tired, I should do this job and, make the money that we need to make to kind of live and afford our mortgage and buy groceries and all of that stuff. And then you're over there running that business and getting it up off the ground and everything until it makes enough money to fully support us. Maybe that's the smarter thing rather than me trying to do all this hustle and make the money that we're living off of out of this autism stuff. And you over there, and also being over there with you trying to make that thing work. Maybe we're better off splitting up, right? Divide and conquer. So we had this really great conversation about it. He said, plus, Beck, you've just been so excited. You haven't stopped talking about it, which I didn't even realize was happening. So anyways, after I kind of imparted with you guys on Growing Gratitude last week that some things were happening, that following Monday, I actually got a message from them, from the vet's office, saying, would you come in to meet with us and do like a little interview? And I said, of course. Oh my God, yes, blah, blah, blah. So we scheduled it for this past Wednesday. Well, the little piece that I haven't shared with you guys just yet is there's something special about this vet's office. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but I want to say a couple of months back on Being Back Alive, I talked about career crushes, right? And I talked about how we can have lots of different ones and they can be different kinds of careers, but it's like the person, not because of their necessarily their success or anything else, but because of their job itself and the where they have to do it, that we can develop these career crushes. And I gave you an example of my local vet, and I said I have such a crush on her because of this career thing. She runs her own practice. It's up here in this sleepy little town, and she's running it with other local people from up here, and everybody knows each other, and everybody's really hearty up here, so they're not as particular and kind of high maintenance clients as I was used to having back in New York. And so I have this whole, I talked about it and I had given you guys her as an example. So I was like, wait, and on top of all of this, this would mean working in place with my career crush. How cool would that be, right? So I head over this past Wednesday to go ahead and do my interview, and we had a great time. It went really well. It was a lot of just chatting. I didn't talk specifically about my autism, but these people know me. They're friends with me on Facebook, so if they don't know that I'm autistic, they are not paying attention, and that's not my problem. So I decided to normalize it by not talking about it, by not mentioning it or not mentioning it particularly, but just it's there. If you want to talk to me about it, bring it up. If you don't, no big deal, right? And just kind of let it be. So I did, and the interview went really well. We did a little tour of the space and all of that. And you guys, so much has changed in vet world since I've worked in it last. I mean, everything, of course, we learn more, know more, and we get better. The technology has gotten better, all kinds of little things. And so what I requested was a working interview. I said, can I come back another day and work the day? You don't have to pay me for it, but I want to make sure that I can still keep this pace, that I can still do this, because not only are we friends, but we share the Chamber of Commerce with the Tony Sammy's thing, and we're neighbors and all of this stuff. And so I don't want it to go bad. I don't want it to go badly and to sour the relationship. So I'd like to do a working interview. So you guys, I've basically been offered the job, either part-time or full-time, whichever I'd like to do. It's good pay, more than I was making at the animal shelter, which is very nice. And it is definitely over minimum wage. And that is amazing for a vet tech position. There's some other things that come along with the pay that are also really nice, like discounts on my pet care and things. But I have to think about it, and I want to do this working interview because I don't want to sink myself, right? I have these really glossed over wonderful memories of being a vet tech, but I was in my 20s and 30s, now I'm 45. Can I still do these things? The good thing is that it's up here in my sleepy little town where everybody takes their time and everybody does things at their own pace, which feels like that'll work. They also were fully willing to train. And so while there are things I still remember how to do, there are a lot of things that have changed and I have to catch up to, right? And then of course or catch up with. And then of course there are things that are doctor specific, like each doctor does it their own way. And so of course I'll have to learn her way of doing certain things. And so asking for the working interview was an accommodation I needed for myself before I got into this. So now that you kind of know the plans and what's going on, I can kind of talk to you a little bit more about what that means for me in terms of advocacy, right? Because it's definitely going to impact that. If I'm working full-time somewhere else, I most definitely won't have the spoons and can't do all of the advocacy that I was doing. So I sat on that for a minute and what that was going to mean. And I came to this conclusion. And I'm going to reference a TV show. If you don't know it, I'm sorry, but this is the best metaphor or way to explain what I'm feeling that I can think of. If you've ever watched The Good Place, if you've watched The Good Place all the way to the end, when they get to the end, they talk about heaven and about being there forever, right? It's infinity that they will be in heaven. And that there's a point that they get to when you're done, when you've done all the things that you've set out to do and you're done with heaven, right? And they go and they leave. right? And they leave heaven. And so this is the point for me. Oh, that would be dogs above my head. Sorry about that. They're going outside. And so I am feeling like that about advocacy. Like, I'm done here. I didn't go as far and make as much impact as I would have liked to, but I'm tired and I'm not excited by it anymore. Here's the deal, you guys. I teach you this in self-defined living. It doesn't get me excited anymore. It doesn't feel in alignment with who I want to be and how I want to live my life. It's starting to feel like an old special interest. And I feel like you guys will know what I mean. So there are parts and components of it that I still really love. I absolutely love teaching the course. I love doing the seminars. I love doing the YouTube and the live streams. Everything else is boring me to death. I'm tired of doing interviews and talking about the same thing. I'm tired of seeing the same fights in the community. I'm tired of the politics. I'm tired of the hustle more than anything else, because I have to hustle so hard to get those sponsorships, to get you guys to register for my courses, all of those things. Forget all the hustle I have to do on the consulting side that you guys never see, which pays the bills, right? It's a lot of hustle. It's a lot of competition. It's a lot of that stuff. And that, I didn't care about those things because I was so passionate about autism advocacy and I loved it so much that I didn't care about those components of it. They were, the good things outweighed those things. Well, that's not the case anymore for me. I don't find it fun anymore. I don't enjoy it. I don't get excited about it. In fact, I don't feel passionate about it anymore. I feel soured and disenfranchised about the whole thing. And the only part that I truly enjoy are those three things. And I consider I consider the newsletter a part of that. So like the news, all of those creation things that I do, I love. The rest of it, sitting on panels, doing interviews, sitting in meetings, doing consulting, can go the way of the wind as far as I'm concerned. And so when I came to that understanding, that realization for myself, and I don't know how long I felt this way, that's the other piece. I realized that it was time for me to really move on. I was feeling really nervous about considering seriously taking this job until I realized how done I am with advocacy, like just done. And I want to get out in the world and I'd like to see my neighbors and I want to pet all the animals and all of these things. And the universe threw this opportunity in my path. Do you see that? That this opportunity landed in my path so that I would awaken to understand that I'm really done with advocacy. And if I wasn't open and aware and just in the moment all the time, that opportunity would have passed me by. I would have not said something in the conversation. I wouldn't have even paused for the conversation, perhaps. But all of that is falling into place because the universe is putting there, and I'm just being aware enough to catch it. And I want you guys to see that in this, right? I want you to see that this is how those things happen. This is why I teach what I teach. And so that is 23 minutes of catching you guys up on my plans. And kind of all the gratitudes around all of that. I did have, what else did I put in here? I know I put other things in here. Oh, right. And the mindfulness practices, I'm grateful for those, because if it wasn't for that and being grounded in my gratitude practices and in my just alignment practices, this would have passed me right by. It would have. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of those things. And the last little thing I want to talk about happened today. So today we did the food truck. We were down at our old spot and there was a local flea market. We are, now that it's getting nice weather here, we're starting to have our outdoor flea markets. And so it was really fun to be there. And I just we had a lull, and Antonio and I went to walk around and look at everything. And I took a little, it's literally a minute long video of sort of the flea market. I just did like a 360 of the flea market. And you'll hear and see the guys that were playing live acoustic music at my little flea market here in town, and you'll just get a glimpse of why I love living up here so much, like so much. and why settling into the town and getting a job here and building a business here is so incredibly important to me. So like I did the last time when that wicked storm was coming in, I am going to throw this video up, this little 1-minute video. And if you want to hop over and watch it after you're done with this, you can. It'll be uploaded and going live at the same time as this. So you guys can check that out. I'll put it on the Growing Gratitude playlist. And that's it for me today, you guys. Thank you for tolerating my upload. I had so much to share with you that I really wanted to make sure that I got through it and I made sense and I said what I had to say. And I don't do that well in the morning. You guys know that. So I appreciate your flexibility with that. I will, of course, be back live on Tuesday with Being Becca Live. And then I will be back next Sunday with the next Growing Gratitude. If those things are going to change, I will, of course, let you know. Keep an eye on my social media, which you can follow if you head over to BeccaLorey.com. That is Becca, Lory.com. There you can use the contact page to get in touch with me. You can follow my social media so you know what's going to happen and what's going on and where things are moving to. You can sign up for my free newsletter there, and you can, of course, always check out the Redbubble store, my writing, and the Ko-Fi store while you're there. I love hearing from you guys. I love your shares. I love your comments. And more than anything, I appreciate your thumbs up and thumbs down. If you like the content, a thumbs down lets me know. And if you don't, a thumbs down lets me know that too. So I appreciate all of those things. If you hadn't had a chance to subscribe just yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you guys out and about on the interwebs. And of course, I'll see you on Tuesday for Being Becca Live. Until then, you guys, please go out in the world, do your gratitudes at least today, and try and make sure you're grateful for all of the things that you have going on in your life. And then go out in the world and seek joy, create joy, share joy, all the joys. And I will see you out there doing all of that. Have a good one, you guys. Bye.